This is my in progress AM8MU build, and I wanted to show some choices I made and the problems some of them caused. The first one was I decided to get these metal ends, which are great, do the job, but I faced quite a few problems with them. Not realizing where you use the A8 plastic once everything's there for you, but these didn't have it. For one, they didn't have a idler pulley this side, but the ones that do come with these ends, because these are G-Tech ends, it usually sticks out here, so I would lose some movement. Whether it would matter or not, I don't know. But there's a common mod on the A-net which has a block here with two sort of like blocks that stick in through the plastic thing in the hole, and then you got your pulley on the outside. Well, I actually bought a metal one which it does a job. I had to modify this though. I had to cut a hole into the end so that it would fit those square things, but even when it did fit them square things, I still had problems because see, here and here is two screws which would foul on them square blocks. I did think about cutting them down short, but then in the end I figured, well, they only foul slightly, so I kind of filed off the parts that needed to be filed off so they would clear the screws. Okay, now problem number two. Not so much of a problem, but the motor goes a different way, so you know. Also with these metal ends, there's such tight tolerances, you have to have the bars straight. So dial indicator and a couple of bricks and some pushing and everything, so you know. And the next problem, no end stop. No, couldn't figure out how to do it. It took me a while, but in the end I mounted it here. I made a metal piece there to screw it onto. This isn't like a standard A-net one, see, and that's why I was having problems. I couldn't find anything to mount that particular one on, and I'd already bought them, so you know. And I added a little extra metal piece here. I mean, it still hits it fine, but I felt it was like on the border of possibly causing an issue, so I just added a piece of extra metal and screwed on with the screw there, so you know. Right, next problem, end stop on the rear. And the reason why there's a problem with the end stop on the rear is because I bought these. And the reason I bought these is I didn't feel that the plastic ones I printed were sufficient enough or would last long enough, so I bought these instead. So then I had to make my own end stop thing, so I'm shit at 3D drawing, so I kind of made one of them bigger and then whacked that on the top, and then a bit of 3D pen work there to hold it still and everything, you know. Bit thingy. Next issue, well, you can't really see much, but I made my own bed carriage. It wasn't laser cut, it was all cut by hand, drilled by hand. I had a problem getting something to put on there as a template, but someone actually made a bed carriage which was bigger than the original A-net, and that actually fitted quite nicely onto the size of bed I've got, which is 250 by 250. So I managed to get that on there, drill the holes, cut everything out, and then file it down. It took me ages, but it's done. All done by hand. The next problem is this. I bought a mirror thinking, oh, that'll be good. That's exact size, it'll fit perfect. Beveled. Bit shit, but it'll do for now. I didn't want to put big clips on there because I hate the big ones. On my original A-net I got the smallest clips you can put on, like really small, and they just fit, but they're not going to fit this. But I bought some that blue silicone pad, which you use like as a heatsink thing, you know, like thermal compound on the processor heatsink, but it's a pad. So I bought some pads to go under this. I haven't put it on yet, so I'll be putting a thermal pad under the mirror and then just putting mirror on top, no clips. That should hold it. Right, so then the next problem, my extrude I chose, which to me is a fucking fantastic design. It's a cross between a BMG Bondtech, but the Bondtech uses a E3D V6, which is like adds that much on the bottom, but this one doesn't. This one is like the Titan Aero. You got the small one, and then obviously the fan and the heatsink, and you got the gear in from the Titan Aero type. You've also got the dual gears like the Bondtech inside there, which is a perfect extruder for me. Wouldn't fit, so I had to modify this to make it fit, which I had to cut this out because it wasn't clearing this. That's why I've got that line on there to line things up, so that wasn't clear, and then them two holes there go in there, which is fine. Still got problems though. I've still to yet figure out how to make a fan blower, so that's another issue. And another issue I faced with, well, it could have been to do with size of the rods I bought or whatever, but the original AM8 ones for these fouled the bracket which come across here, so they were useless. So I found these ones. These are made for putting like an 8mm bearing in, but I don't want to put one of them in because you shouldn't do that. And well, it works, you know, it's got the gap there, and this is allowed to move, you know. Of course, with the smooth rods, I went for the closest size up to what I needed. That's why they stick out a bit. Same on these ones as well. I mean, these stick out a fair bit, but they're not fouling anything, so I'll leave it. The frame is bigger. The other problem I had is getting these uprights in the perfect position, but I worked out some calculations, the same as I worked out with getting a bigger bed size and the Z height. I did a whole calculation thing for that, so you know, got the corner things in there. I didn't want those big ones. I put those corner things in there with the grub screws. These are mainly decoration, really. I don't need them, but I think they look good. I went for these type. I think these are better than the other type, to be honest. They look and feel better. Of course, I got a silicone bed as well, so that's another problem. I had to find out the information I found out from a video about a TiVo, about shockproofing. So what I've done is, that's your main wiring, 220 volts. I've earthed the bed to the frame, and then the frame will be earthed to the mains. What I'm going to do is attach this up here with a P-clip, and then that I've tested it already. That will allow the bed to move back and forth with minimal sort of moving about, you know. I think that's it for now. I mean, I'm using this, I think it's 7.5mm car type sheathing. It's a pain in the ass to get the wires in, but I think it looks nice, so that's why I chose it. But yeah, there's a couple of issues, and that was another thing I missed. These things here that I bought for these lead screws, I had to file down the edge a bit there so that it would fit on. I mean, I don't know why they didn't come with these metal ends, because these metal ends came with these things to stop the rods moving. They came with loads of extra pieces, like a bracket to put an extruder thing on there, but they didn't come with the wheel either for that side, so it was a kit, but I just don't understand why it didn't include them bits, but it included stuff you wouldn't think it included. But yeah, there we go.